topic for our debate is that does marriage make you happy? We are the affirmative team. Define the topic as marriage couples make people's lives happier. Life less strife in a way than welcoming to them. We are the affirmative team believe the statement is true. I now will be talking about does marriage life make people happier? We, the affirmative team, define the topic as marriage couples makes people live a happier life to strive in a way that is welcoming to them. We, the affirmative team, believe that this statement is true. I'll be talking about does marriage make people live happier? Our second speaker is talking about how does marriage life give benefits to your health and well-being. Our third speaker will be giving stats about our topic, and our fourth speaker will rebut the negative team and sum up our team cases. So let's get into our first point. Does marriage make people happy? Yes, marriage makes people happier than single people. Researchers say before them that married people are considerably more satisfied with their life than unmarried people. Romantic partners live together and are also happier than single people. You got someone to rely on and trust when you need a partner. Always be there for emotional and support times. Emotional and spiritual times. Mental health is when you are married for social supports and more likely to those who are single, strongly associated with poorer health outcomes. Together they value each other and share memories with future improved love for each other.
Okay. Shots John. Yeah.
Good afternoon, my fellow peers. My name is John Herana, and I'm the first speaker of the negative side of the motion, married life brings the most happiness. In my group, we have Frank Romeo, who will talk about how married lives, unhappy married lives will result in domestic violence and other forms of unhappiness in the relationship. Jeremiah Franklin is going to be rebutting all the other points of the other group, and me, John Herana. To Sal's points, you said some very well thought points, and you said about how they will be supporting each other through marriage, and how about if they're not happy in that relationship and that they're in a toxic relationship where they don't want to support each other and they just want each person to be inferior to them, like someone is trying to prove them that they're the alpha of the relationship and they're trying to make the other person not happy so that they would stay with them, so that they would act like as their God, and they would that they would act like as a person in the relationship as the God of the other person, like, oh, you do this for me because you have nowhere else to go. And that brings me to my first point. Marriage was closely intertwined with us, the system of our society. For many years, we all believed this myth that you have to find your true love, or in other words, find the person that you love the most and marry them and you will live happily ever after. However, this is very invalid from the investigations conducted by Sir Sean Grover and John F. Halliwell. They proposed that while happiness increases at the start of the relationship or the marriage, this would indicate that after the marriage or after the honeymoon, most people, if they were unhappy at the start, they will begin to drift back to their own disappointments at the start. And, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm the second speaker, and my point is, for the topic, is how does a marriage life can benefit your well-being and health? Okay, so people in the committed relationships are more likely to be happier and have higher self-esteem, feel greater life satisfaction, and experience less stress or depression than people who aren't in a romantic relationship. This is backed up by the Cornell University study found. And furthermore, to back up, A data from the GSG General Social Survey collected from 2010 and from 2018 shows that married men double the happiness stat. Married men are 41% happier with kids and 40% happier without kids. Our data from the General Social Survey collected from 2010 and 2018 shows that married women double the happiness stat when they are married. When they're not married, the happiness stat are less than 20%, 19% when they are a parent, and 24% not having kids. Married women are 45% happier with kids and 41% happier without kids when they're married. But there is a fascinating and compelling research that suggests that married people enjoy better health than single people. For example, as compared with those who are single, those who are married tend to live longer, have fewer strokes and heart attacks, have lower chance of becoming depressed, and less likely to have advanced cancer at the time of diagnosis, and have more likely to survive cancer a long period of time, and survive a major operation more often. Thank you.
So, can I be able to put on charge for the next period? Sorry? Still not.
Good afternoon to everyone in this classroom. I am Frank, who is the second speaker for the negative team, and we believe that marriage doesn't bring the most happiness. Tony over here had some really good points. You can tell he was really prepared with the evidence about having kids, which doesn't relate to marriage. You can have a relationship and have kids without being married. Also, you can tell by not rebutting John that he fully supports his points. Now going to my first point. Marriage can lead to domestic violence. 20% of marriages can lead to domestic violence. That's a 1 in 5 chance. I wouldn't take those risks if I were you. You think you know everything. Well, unfortunately, in the real world, you can't trust people. I'm sorry. It's harsh our heads. Yeah. I know the odds are very low, but yeah. Because people think that when you're married they can do whatever they want, which is not true. Yeah, on to my second point, there are better lifestyles. What I mean by this is you got the single life. Like most of us here are single, which I'm assuming we're happy. But if we were to get married right now, I don't think we'd be any happier because we're kids, we're young. And I don't believe we should be married at this young of age. This is why we believe that marriage life doesn't bring the most happiness.
Very well put. Good afternoon, fellow classmates, teachers. I am the rebuttal third speaker because, well-prepared speeches by the first speaker and second speaker. But there are major flaws. Marriage is intertwined with society. That is a choice that we make. We choose to get married. Finding the perfect person in a relationship, it's a choice. It's a chance we take. We try to find the perfect person every day, every week, every month, every year. That one person that we may think is perfect comes by. We just got to take that chance, shoot our shot, and maybe land it. And if you do get married and you have an unhappy honeymoon, well then you just didn't find the perfect person, now did you? Frank, my boy. 20% of marriages can lead to abuse. How much people were surveyed out of that 20%?
Don't know.
Do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, about 10,000.
10,000. Now compare that to the world's population right now. Like over 8 billion. That's a small number. It's a small number. You can't trust people. You can't trust people. Bro, that just shows anxiety. You're showing signs of anxiety if you can't trust anyone. You've got family, friends. Even strangers can be sometimes trustworthy. Just don't choose the shady ones. You're talking about odds. You're talking about chance. Mate, we're not doing maths. This is like life. Like sure, maths applies like every time, but not every. It's life. It's unpredictable. Okay. You can do whatever you want. Yes, sure, you can, but you can't do everything you want to do. There's rules that we live by, but we can do certain stuff. Okay, I didn't really think of that. Better lifestyles. Sure, being single is nice, but friends with benefits. I think Sure, being single is quite nice and the preferred choice for most people, but also being loved is another factor in society. And that is my case to rebutting first and second speaker.
Just got roasted.
Just a reminder to be quiet from the toilet, please.
Open the knuckles and
Even though only, how many, 10%? 10,000?
20%?
Yes, 20%. Only because 20% of marriages end in domestic violence doesn't mean that they're all good. 1 in 3 couples in the entire census of Australia were divorced in 2018, and it's only going higher at this point. And Tony didn't expect the reality of things to actually exist. With numbers, they actually are just numbers. People in domestic abuse don't really actually say that they're in a domestic relationship because they don't want to say that they're in it. If they are actually being abused physically, mentally, all that kind of stuff, they wouldn't say it because they want to seem stronger or they don't want to be more abused. Relationships aren't always a good thing. And even not being married, relationships can't be a good thing. They can have toxic relationships that are more than just physical abuse that we don't even record about. Ones that your partner is dependent on you to fix their every problem. And they aren't usually recorded because people usually don't think about it being recorded. And it's just going higher and higher with how much mental illnesses are in the world, let alone how many mental illnesses are affecting relationships and how many problems those relationships need to be solved.
I don't care who we touch my
Okay, to rebut you, first of all, those statistics are really old, and there's actually over 730 days old, which is more than almost 2 years, I mean. And secondly, what does illness have to do with marriage? Alright, now I'll introduce the fact that marriage can improve your overall health and well-being. So, a study from health.harvard so that's Harvard University, shows that marriage helps you live longer, brings in multiple incomes, which, as you would know, improves well-being, and you have fewer strokes and heart attacks because you got someone to support you all the time, and there's a lower risk of mental illness there. So that's it.